What is shakin', Internet? This is Salt bringing you the How to Tank for Dummies Norushen Guide. Norushen, or the Amalgam of Corruption, is the third boss in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid instance for the first quarter LFR instance named the Veil of Eternal Sorrows. For those of you in queue or fighting trash, a quick synopsis. Switch tanks at 3 to 4 stacks of Unleashed Anger, or whenever you get out of your test. Grab all the Unleashed manifestations and stand in their pools, and don't touch the slow-moving laser. Okay, let's start on the real guide for dummies. The trash here is pretty extensive, so I highly suggest hugging the right wall the entire way. If you hug the right wall as soon as you leave the chamber where you fought the previous boss, you'll only have to fight about 4 packs of trash, 3 if you're lucky. All of the littleish ads are mostly ignorable. Interrupt their casts if you can, but mostly just keep them all stacked up. There is a big guy at the entrance to the mine that you need to go to, and he continuously casts Shaw Smash, which is a giant cone of high damage. Against your better judgment and instinct, you need to face this towards the whole raid, so that the damage can get shared amongst everyone. Otherwise, you'll die all alone. He has another mechanic that gives you a DOT, and you need to spread out from people, but that's ignorable in LFR, so just stack up and kill him. Now, once you reach Norushen, you'll see a little scene where Cho talks to him about junk and stuff. Eventually, talking to Norushen himself will begin the timer to start the real fight. The fight is pretty straightforward with only one phase. I'm going to first explain the big mechanic before getting into the boss details, Corruption. Everyone starts the fight with 75 Corruption. What this does is make everyone do 75% less damage to the boss. As a tank, you really don't care about damage, but this would cause problems for the raid to actually beat the boss in time. Luckily, there is a way to purify yourself and remove all your corruption, taking a test. You'll need to go to your local community college and sign up for an SAT and ACT to get rid of your corruption. They should have forms for you there. Seriously though, every so often the boss will send a group of players, random group of players, into a test realm, where they will be alone with some ads. This test is different depending on your role. DPS players have multiple ads to kill, healers have some ads to heal, and most importantly, tanks have one ad to tank, naturally. In normal mode, you actually choose when to go into the test by clicking orbs, but in LFR, there is no such mechanic. The boss will just choose people randomly and move them automatically. Now, when you get pulled into your test realm, pay attention to your ad. To escape from the test realm, you have 2 options. You can kill the ad, or survive for 1 minute. Killing the ad is difficult at first because of the reduced damage you do, so just focus on surviving. The test ad has 4 moves. I think he's called the Titanic Corruption. So, first up is Titanic Smash. This is a front cone attack that you should avoid. It does a lot of damage. Next is Burst of Corruption. This is a zone attack that needs to be avoided. It does a lot of damage. So just keep moving. Hurl Corruption is next, which is a nuke that should be interrupted, because it does a lot of damage. Finally, Piercing Corruption, which is just a nuke that you need to live through because it does a lot of damage. Put up cooldowns as necessary for that Piercing Corruption. The test realm is really pretty simple. Basically, if you keep moving around the ad in a circle while fighting him, the only other thing you need to do is interrupt the Hurl Corruption. Have your interrupt ready, and run around like a madman. Then 60 seconds later, you'll get returned to the normal realm. Nice thing is that when you're returned, you lose all your corruption, and you get a nice damage-reducing buff. As soon as you're out, you need to taunt the boss to help out your buddy tank. Now, like I said, you have no control over when you'll go into the test realm, but it seems that he will never pick 2 tanks at once, so don't worry about that. Now, let's get into the real boss here. The boss has 4 moves, only 2 of which really do something to be concerned about. First is Unleashed Anger, which does damage to the tank and debuffs them, causing more damage for future Unleashed Angers. This stacks, so swapping tanks at anywhere between 2 and 4 stacks is recommended. This might not always be possible, as the other tank might be in the test realm. So if you start hitting 3 stacks, be prepared to use cooldowns for future Unleashed Angers. Blind Hatred is another move that kind of concerns you. It causes a beam of energy to shoot out from the boss and slowly spin around the room. Just move away from it, it's really not hard to see or avoid. Icy Fear is a move that the Amalgam will continuously cast throughout the fight, doing raid-wide damage. The lower his health is, the more damage it will do, so watch for lots of raid-wide damage late in the fight, although there's nothing you can do about this move. Now, these moves aren't that hard to deal with. A basic tank swap mechanic, an easy-to-avoid beam, and increasing raid-wide pulse. Lastly, though, the boss will spawn adds, unleashed manifestations of corruption to be exact, at 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10% health. We'll talk about these adds in just a moment. There's nothing you can do to stop this, so don't fret too much just yet. Now, that's all there is to this boss. However, there is slightly more to do here. Adds will continuously spawn during the fight, big ones and little ones. Just a note, these adds actually spawn whenever DPS go to their test realm and kill their adds. When they kill adds in the test realm, these adds will appear in the normal realm. Nothing you can do about it, just explaining where these adds actually come from. The little adds, or unleashed essences, are stationary adds that don't attack and don't need to be tanked. They do need to be killed, however, because they will constantly spam projectiles towards the boss. If these projectiles actually hit players, they do a good chunk of damage, but if they hit the boss, they'll buff his damage for a while, and they stack. If you're not actively tanking something for some reason, go kill these guys and block the bolts from hitting the boss. Now, unleashed manifestations are the big guys. These guys also come from the DPS's test realm, and they're the same adds as the boss will spawn as his health drops at the 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10% mark. These guys do two things beyond basic attacks and should be tanked. The main thing they do, besides basic attacks, is Burst of Anger, which is a raid-wide burst of damage that they spam over and over and over again. This is why they need to be killed quickly. More importantly, however, when they die, they leave a little void zone behind that also does raid-wide damage, every second or so. The good thing is that anyone with 75% corruption or less can step on these and soak them up, getting rid of that raid-wide damage and the void zone, but increasing their corruption by 25. This means they'll be doing 25% less damage to the boss, of course. Now, these big adds are the real crux of the fight, as the pools they leave behind are the only thing that will actually increase your corruption, and they're a pain to tanks because you'll probably have to tank them all along with the boss. They really do need to be tanked, though, but if the other tank is busy taking a test, then you'll need to round them all up and pull on your big bear pants. If the other tank isn't missing, then they should round up the adds. Remember, the little guys don't need tanks, only the big guys. A note here is to soak up the corruption pools if possible. While this is really annoying because it means you'll get to 100 corruption very quickly and then you'll do no damage at all to the boss, it's normally better for tanks to be doing no damage than for DPS to be doing no damage. Then again, there's plenty of DPS that do lower damage than me in a lot of these LFR raids. Either way, that pretty much sums up the fight, so let's recap. Tanks should swap at about 3 stacks of Unleashed Anger. If the other tank is taking a test, then you'll need to pop cooldowns for more stacks of Unleashed Anger, and round up any big adds as well. You need to avoid the giant beam of darkness, and try to soak up pools that are left behind by dead big adds, and intercept bolts from the little adds before they hit the boss. During a test, you need to run around the mini-boss in circles like a madman and interrupt his hurl corruption. I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy guide for dummies. Please like, favorite, share, subscribe, all that jazz, and, as always, you keep it salty, Internet.